Once upon a time, two retired teachers decided to convert their garage into a pottery studio. Along with their daughter and son, they built a business around the idea that the world could use a little more art and a lot more artists. We're the Kaya family. Welcome to Wocky Pots. Hi everybody, how you doing? How you been? How are things? Shane and Diana here with coffee time number 42 at Wocky Pots Studio. Yes. Diana, what are we going to talk about today?
Well, we're going to go over last week. We've got a question we need to answer, and then we're going to do some planning for this coming week.
Yay, we've got lots of planning to do.
Yes, we sure do. Let's go ahead and we're going to start talking about some of the things that we made last week.
Oh my goodness, you guys, we made so many things.
We did.
So many things. Do you want to tell them yet how many things we made yesterday, or am I getting ahead of it a little bit?
No, you probably can. If you all see, it's only October 7th, guys, and we have our October goal up, and we already have 100 pieces up there. So last week we definitely made a lot. Pieces.
In fact, really yesterday, we made 100 pieces in one single one day. And that seems like a lot. It really is, because some of the pieces we made were teeny tiny little like stamp out ornament kind of things, or I made a couple rune sets with tiny little things.
But so it all helps and it all counts, and you have to have small things as well as big things. So it does make you feel good though when that number is 100.
Yeah, it's amazing when you think that way back a million years ago, 100 pieces a month was a reasonable goal for us. And we really made 100 separate individual pieces of pottery yesterday. Some of them were quite small, jewelry and stuff like that. But the fact that we cranked out that number, 100, in a single day is astounding. Now, not just the small things, but we also made a bunch of big things as well, right? And Diana will show you now one of the things that she's very proud of.
I am very proud of this, and it's so funny because this was not going to be a mug. This, in fact, was going to be one of my tumblers that I love to do with the texture, just because it feels so good to hold. And it also was not going to have this belly around it. And then you looked at it and you said, you should put a handle on that.
Yeah, you should put a handle on it. Yep.
That looks like it would make a good mug. And I'm like, oh.
It turned out pretty awesome.
It did. So he'll show a close-up picture of it, but it has the snowflake print that I rolled in. And then I have one of our snowflake ornaments that I had made that I attached to the front. And look at this wonderful, lovely, lovely handle. I just love this
Right,
handle.
That's Diana's new handle tool. And where did you get the handle tool?
Diamond Core Tools.
Diamond Core Tools.
Oh my gosh, guys. I've always heard that they're like the supreme of the...
They're the Cadillac of clay tools.
Oh, wow. Talk about being able to pull that through that clay and it comes out just like that without all that fixing.
It was fantastic.
And then I bulged this just a tiny smidge. And it is
shape.
cute. I'm so glad you suggested that. I think this might become one of my
and I don't know whether
shapes.
it's a seasonal kind of thing or what, but mugs are going big time.
Oh
mugs.
My gosh, yes.
And every bowl that I made last week went at the market on Saturday. Now I'm going to talk about the Saturday market in just a second. Yeah. But first I'm going to talk about some of the things I've been making.
Oh, these
so
cups
I've got a couple of larger mugs. And to give it a kind of a sense of scale, I'm kind of getting close to the size of a large coffee mug. This particular mug was a lot of fun to make, and I love how it turned out. But I also have several of that, and then I've got several of this similar form, but maybe a little exaggerated. And then I have a bunch of these small round mugs.
So cute.
We might glaze those pumpkin-like. I don't really know one or two of them.
Maybe.
But so many mugs sold at our last event Saturday. We're wiped out of mugs. Like this mug is like the only one that's left, and that just came out of the kiln last Saturday. And in fact, that's another thing to talk about. But I also made a bunch of bowls and other assorted, kind of smaller things on the wheel. And it's a little early to show it to you yet, but I've dug out that blue porcelain that I had from 2 years ago. I've had it for 2 years, just
since the very
sitting
beginning.
in a bag since the beginning, right? I've had it for at least 2 years. And I pulled some of that out, and I made a small little hand-built cup out of the blue porcelain. And then I also mixed the blue porcelain half and half with white porcelain and wedged it up together and put that on the wheel. Mm-hmm. And hopefully I'll have a nice little cup, this same shape, a little smaller, made out of a really pretty light blue porcelain, if it turns out.
Nice.
I hope it does. If it does, it's going to be fantastic.
Nice. And when you were talking about bowls, you know, when we went to the market on Saturday, every single bowl
they bought all my bowls, but they were awesome.
Sold. My very favorite bowl that you made sold. That was so pretty. You've got to show that.
Yep.
It was like teal on the inside and had that river birch on the outside.
I will show pictures because for many of the things that we made, we only have pictures.
So yesterday, I decided I don't make a lot of bowls, and there's a reason, guys. Bowls are just so much easier on the wheel. But I did.
I can make a bowl in 3 minutes. Maybe not 3 minutes, but not much more than that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I went ahead and I made a bowl and I gave it a belly and I've got the nice texture in it. So, but let's put it this way. This one took a long time, but I am pretty proud of it.
It's awesome. It's going to be a great bowl. Yeah, it's going to be beautiful when it's glazed.
I hope so. So I was trying to help out with the bowls. Mm-hmm. You know, I can make lots of mugs, but bowls just seem to... Well, it's a lot of work.
There's a lot of work, right? And then keeping it straight and everything.
Yes.
So anyway, here's the deal. Last Saturday, we set up at Shinty Cowan Farmers and Artisans Market, as we do. Mm-hmm. And we were down to 2 totes of pottery. Like, we literally had only 2 of those wooden crates filled with pottery. That's all we had. So we had to hustle around the week before that and make as much pottery as we could. Mm-hmm. And we ran into a little bit of a problem because we can't run the kiln while we're having classes in here for our homeschool art class. So we couldn't start a glaze load in the kiln until Thursday. We started it Thursday after the class left, and it was not yet quite cool enough for us to open it Saturday morning, but we opened it anyway. It was 120 degrees Fahrenheit, which is a little warmer than we like.
Yeah, but it was perfect.
It was perfect. Nothing, no pings, no cracks, no crazy. No. But those we literally went from opening the kiln. We took it right out of the kiln and put it right in its wrapping, and then took it right to Shinty that day. Yeah. The pottery was literally still warm when we were unpacking it and putting it on the table. Yeah. So
and we don't have a lot left.
We sold so much of it.
But we'll pick the turquoise.
Yep. So we have, and I'll show close-up pictures of these.
These are the cutest. I love these pumpkins. I really do. The cream one, of course, went right away, and an orange one. But I just love this turquoise one. And you know, you can see a lot of turquoise pumpkins now. Pumpkins come in more colors than just bright orange anymore. Right in the farmers' fields. So I really love
People
that one.
Love the pumpkins. And of course, we already mentioned...
I would be fine if that one never sells.
Well, I kind of feel that way about a lot of the stuff, but people buy it.
And you had a new dog bowl, and of course that went right away. Now, neither one of the cat bowls went, so I'm not sure.
They're a little small.
Well, I don't know if it's that, but look at that with that tortoiseshell glaze that I do on it. And you hand painted a mouse on the inside.
I did a bigger dog bowl with a bone, and somebody snapped that right up.
I'm not sure if people maybe spend more on their dogs than they do on their cats.
We need to make more pet bowls. Know. But
something to find out.
That one monster cup that I made in Diana Glaze, that was sold.
So cute.
It was sold before the market even opened. Another vendor came over. Thanks, Ann, by the way, if you're watching. Another vendor came over and snapped that right up. As soon as we were unwrapping it and put it out, she immediately grabbed that. Yeah. So I'm going to start a new thing. When I have to make multiples of something on a wheel, like if I'm going to sit down and make 10 mugs, I'm always going to take one mug and put a face on it, just because it's fun, and it might add a couple minutes to the process. But people love faces, so that's a thing I'm going to start doing.
Yeah, and of course, last week we also had the homeschool classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Right.
So it was a super, super busy week, and we did collage.
Right.
So
remember
you put
that
up our collages.
Even though we're having the homeschool kids in, they're not in here for pottery necessarily. it's an actual art class, and we did collage this past week.
Yes.
And I'll show closer pictures, but you can see the pumpkin that I did over here, and then Diana's collage over her shoulder over there. And it was so much fun. We really enjoyed that.
And the kids really, really enjoyed it. It's really nice to see, because this session we're focusing on different types of art medium.
Right.
And so they've done charcoals and they've done collage now. And some of the kids who just really, really loved charcoal, that was their thing. You could tell it. But this week there was this whole new set of all of a sudden certain kids were like faces lit up, and they just kept going and they kept going and they kept going. It clicked with them. Yes.
And then,
which is what I like to see.
This coming week, starting tomorrow, we're going to do another medium, another technique.
Yeah.
We're doing carving, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to give each kid and I'll show you next week when they're finished. I'll give each kid a square piece of construction foam, and we're going to use subtractive sculpting methods. That means we're going to carve away and end up with a round pumpkin, and then that can be painted, and it'll be a nice decoration.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll have some kids that want to turn them immediately into jack-o'-lanterns. I'm sure of it.
Probably.
But they certainly won't have to do that. But that's what we have planned for this week's class.
Right.
And there will be one or two kids that immediately get it, and those kids I'll have some soapstone handy, and I'll let them carve something out of soapstone, because carving soapstone is not different or more difficult than carving foam.
Gotcha.
It's just a little more expensive.
I would be one of the kids that has a harder time with that. I have a harder time taking away than I do putting things together.
Yep. Well,
so that's why I love collage, because I'm putting things together.
We'll see how it goes. Hopefully it won't be too much of a mess.
Yes.
If any of our homeschool parents are watching, I do apologize for the mess that will be coming home with your kids this week. It will be significant.
Yes.
Sorry.
That's okay. I think they're all good with that.
Okay.
And before we move on, we do have a question to answer this week. But before we move on, let's share our highlight and our challenge.
Okay.
So which do you want to do first, the highlight or the challenge?
Let's do the challenge, because it's all about timing, you guys. The challenge was getting our coffee time video filmed last week on time. Because we didn't, right? It was so crunched. We were trying to catch up from our Salem vacation and trying to make things. And while we were trying to fill these racks up with greenware so it can dry and go in the kiln, we were also doing our homeschool classes. And there was a lot of other kerfluffly things going on as well. The continuing saga of Christopher's bedroom and the asbestos ceiling removal that we are waiting on right now is probably going to be backburnered until things calm down a little bit in Western North Carolina, because my understanding is that is having nationwide impacts on insurance claims and all that stuff that goes with it.
And I am perfectly fine with that.
That's okay.
Those people need
all the help we can get.
without the bedroom.
We can
for now. We can
close it off
deal with the
and
totes in the living room for a little while longer.
Because there are people out in Tennessee and Western North Carolina that it's not just that they don't have a house to live in now. Their whole town was gone in some of those places. There are roads that are cut off. There are still people that are stranded with only being able to get aid through helicopter drops. Yeah. So as irritating as the little things are here, we know that there are much bigger issues that people have to deal with. So we're okay.
And I know some of you were worried about his twin sister, because she lives in Western North Carolina. And
Shannon, if you're watching, we love you.
Yes, and there was damage, but her house is fine, and their power is back on now, and they did lose quite a bit of things like their Airbnb and that type of thing, but they still have a roof over their head, and they still have each other and their family, and so that's all good. And she's already trying to help others that are in need, and
that's fantastic. Yeah. So we can
deal
with.
Thank you for asking, though.
Yep, we can deal with our own little irritating.
That's it.
Things, but that was our challenge last week.
I get to share the highlight.
Now highlight.
I do.
Okay.
Yes. we got a dishwasher.
Which made our old dishwasher very happy because our old dishwasher was Christopher, who will be 16 in December, yes. And he does not like that job at all. I don't blame him.
And the reason that is such a highlight is because now I can spend just a little bit more time making pottery. Mm-hmm. Just that little bit extra each day really does make a difference. It's so funny.
We lived so long without a dishwasher that having one now, it's like, holy cow, it's magic. Now, we did have a dishwasher for a while, but it pooped out and we never got a replacement for it.
And I don't mind doing dishes, but the thing is, sometimes I just don't have any energy left. Mm-hmm. It's like I've given everything I've got and there's nothing left.
So anyway, we've got this new dishwasher and it has Wi-Fi, you guys. I can talk to my dishwasher from my phone. It's like we're living in the future. It's amazing.
Yes, like the Jetsons.
Like the Jetsons, exactly.
The Jetsons,
yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so new name for our dishwasher, Rosie.
Oh, I like that.
That's perfect, isn't it?
Yes, and I unload Rosie first thing in the morning, and then we keep putting our dirty stuff in all day long. And
anyway,
then we start it. It's so fun.
I'm sure you know how dishwashers work, but maybe you don't understand exactly how happy that dumb little thing makes us. It makes us very happy.
I like that.
Yep.
So Rosie it is.
That's a highlight.
Yes. Yep. Okay, so question. And this ties into our homeschool art class, but also ties into our work with clay. Mm-hmm. And the question is, what does subtractive sculpting mean?
Right. So,
big word.
So for this week's homeschool class, we're talking about sculpture, and I wanted to give the kids a form and a technique and a medium that they had not worked with before. Subtractive sculpting is really just carving away, removing of material. So you can imagine, like when we're making something out of clay here in the studio, the subtractive sculpting would be like, for example, taking out the holes for Diana's owl luminary. Or subtractive is like carving a sgraffito would be subtractive because you're taking something from it. Additive would be adding something to the piece you're working with. If you were building a sculpture out of clay, with the leaf and my stem, exactly. Okay. Adding the stem and the leaves is an additive sculpture technique. But that both subtractive and additive go together to describe what we do with clay, and that is modeling. When we model something out of clay, sometimes we take bits away, sometimes we add things to it, but that modeling is working with the plastic, movable, shapeable medium like clay. It's very different than carving away something that is not flexible, not movable, like the foam that we're going to be carving tomorrow in like soapstone. But also think of it in terms of carving in stone, like granite or marble. Those use subtractive carving techniques, and you wouldn't actually add stone to a sculpture like that ordinarily. Normally, everything is just pulled away. Now, tomorrow, when we make the pumpkins, we're going to use subtractive techniques to change the square of foam into a round ball, and then from there, we're going to form it into a pumpkin. But we're also going to use an additive technique to put a stem on it. If the kids want to add a stem, and most of them will, they'll carve a little stem out of foam and then add that to the pumpkin. So although it's mainly about subtractive, there's also a little bit of additive. Gotcha. But what it won't be is modeling. We're not going to be molding the foam. Right. Okay. So anyway, that's our question, and hopefully that answers the question for parents who were curious, and anybody else that's curious. That's it. Here in our studio, we use a variety of techniques, and sometimes we take clay away, and sometimes we add clay on. But ultimately, it's all about modeling when we're working with clay. Okay, sounds good. Alrighty, well, this week, after we're done with our coffee time, we're going to be putting in a bisque load. Right. So we're going to get that bisque load in. All the stuff behind you, many mugs. Yes. And then we have lots of stuff over there, plates and ornaments. Including the owl luminary. And that's already sold? It's already sold. Somebody's already decided they want to adopt it. He doesn't even have his clothing on yet. I guess his glaze. Yep. But yes, he's going to be going to a new home in Texas. Texas. Yeah, so fun. So we need to make some more of those for sure. Yes. And I know... after the bisque load is in, like if it goes in today, then we should be able to glaze a load and then fill it up and then have another load of pottery going Saturday to our market.
So I'll spend, and so will you, pretty much all day Wednesday will be nothing but glazing day here in the studio. And then after the homeschool art class is done Thursday morning, then
it's going to be close again, isn't it?
It is. And we're going to push the button and we'll probably be opening that lid at 120 again.
At 5 a.m. on Saturday morning and then chucking it into crates and taking it with us.
But that's the way it is right now.
I will say we did find a time saver. And I don't know if I can show a picture of it because I'm not sure where they're at. The Diamond Core, Tools sanding sponges that Diana got for me are wonderful. They're absolutely genius. They make sanding the bottoms of the pottery so much faster and so much easier than just using plain sandpaper.
Yes. I don't know how long they're going to last, but you're using them every week. So eventually, one of these weeks, you'll say, they're worn out.
I think, and I'm getting a lot more use out of the 200 grit than the rougher ones. So if we order again, I'll get another 200 grit. And if they have anything finer, and they might not, but if they have anything finer, I might want it more for polishing the finished clay surfaces rather than just sanding it smooth. So if they have a finer one, I will get it. But if not, that's okay too. But Diamond Core sanding block tools are ridiculously good. They are very, very good.
Yes. So, alrighty then. And then, of course, Tuesday and Thursday we'll be doing the sculpting pumpkins and learning about 2 other artists with our homeschool group. But also this week we've got a lot of prep happening for the next SCA event.
That's right. The Society for Creative Anachronism. Yes. There's another event for us to attend with about twice as many people as the previous one we did. Last time we set up, we sold so many things.
We had no idea
it was huge.
It was going to be like that.
I don't remember what our final dollar amount was, but it was much higher than we anticipated.
Yes, and and we had a wide variety of things, which my goal is to have a wide variety of things again. But we also know that the lunch style plate, any small type of plate, mugs galore, heavy bottomed items, wide bottomed items, bowls are big on their needs list because that when they have their feasts and things.
No. But I will say this is in November though, right?
Yes,
so it's
people
November.
are also going to be buying for Christmas.
Right, presents.
So that's why, my hope is to have some of the luminaries as well. Anything really that we make, I'm hoping to take, but I definitely would like to have 50 mugs.
For sure. And we're halfway there now if we didn't sell any, but we're going to still be selling at the market.
Right. And so I'd like to kind of list an inventory of what we'd like to take and then see how close we can come to that.
And of course our records are meticulous. Diana has written down every single thing we have sold, literally everything we've sold. Yeah. So we know exactly what people like and what they're selling. In fact, we have a record of what was bought at the last event we did back in the spring. So we know exactly what they were looking for. And we also wrote down the things that people were specifically looking for. I do have a couple of regrets, and one is I'm not sure I'm going to be able to crank out ocarinas to take.
Right.
We have so many actual pottery items that although I would love to say I'm going to be making ocarinas to take, I don't know that we're going to have the time for that.
Yeah, so anyway, but we're going to get as much stuff done as we can, but we kind of have to have our list now in preparation because it's 3-4 weeks away.
That's right. And then we have the Holly Market, which is a big Christmas sale. Basically, although we're very pleased that we cranked out so much pottery yesterday, we need to do that multiple days per week.
We do, not just one.
To get us through Christmas. Now, after Christmas is over, after the buying season is over, we'll have a little bit of a breather there where we can go at a slightly more leisurely pace. But as it is right now, I made, in 1 hour yesterday, I made, 6 or 7 mugs and a bunch of bowls. So I really was cracking things out.
Yeah, you were. He was going much faster than I've ever seen him go before.
I was flying, you guys. Which It's kind of, I think it's because it was earlier in the morning. It's easier for me to get my work done earlier. And
after lunch is always a slump.
I really did do more in that 1 hour than I would normally do in a whole day. Honestly, that's not an exaggeration.
Yeah, so the key is getting out here and working early. So we know we're doing that, and then there's some things we want to make this week. So I know you had said you want to make a new style of mug.
Right. So I love these kind of curvy, almost vase-shaped mugs that go out and then in and then out again, like this one. But I do need to make some of those travel mugs because people are asking for them. They're kind of flask-shaped. I'll show you a picture of this
it's narrower top.
Yep.
Right.
Wider at the bottom, and then it goes up with straight conical sides, and then up with a cylinder. And don't worry, I will show you a picture so you can picture it. But I need to make these of a substantial size. I need them to hold 16 to 20 ounces of fluid. I need them to be large mugs.
I wonder if that would be what Tom would want.
Probably. There's this gentleman that helps out at the market named Tom, and we owe him a mug because he gave us a whole bunch of little clay tools that are going to be very useful here in the studio. And I told him he could pick out a mug, and he wants something large.
Yes.
I'm going to make a bunch of those, and I'll bet he would love
I bet
that.
so too.
Yep.
Oh, I hope so, because he's such a nice guy.
So that's my big thing. Of course, I'll crank out a few more bowls as well. But those travel mugs are going to be a big thing.
Yes.
In fact, I'm dying to get over to the wheel and make some right now.
Yeah.
I also have to put handles, and I'm pointing to the back of the studio like you guys can see. You can't see it, but the back of the studio.
It's in their house.
It's in your house. There's a rack near my wheel that has the cups and mugs that I made yesterday. And my hands are just twitching to get those handles on those things because they're going to look great. I can't wait to see how everything turns out.
Yeah.
But we've got a lot of other things to do, so that's going to get done. But we have many, many other things to do too.
Yes.
So. Like what? What else? Well, I got to go get the flea medicine for the pets because I'm pretty sure I saw a flea.
It's that time of year, so we have to make sure that they don't come into the house.
My goodness, we don't want to nuke and pave, you guys. We don't want to.
No. So, alrighty. So you said what you were making, and so this week, what I'm going to make. Of course, I'm going to make everything that we already make because I keep trying with my slabs to just fit as many things as I can. So it's whatever fits. But I'm also going to design a template this week for an egg cup.
Oh, right. Yeah. Somebody mentioned that.
Yes. I think they would be so much fun to make. And they're just really cute. And, you know, I started looking about them and people collect those.
Okay. Now, I will give you $10 if you can remember the name for people who... You can't remember. I can't remember.
No, I can't.
You know how there's a name for people who collect things
I know. I'm going to have to look it up again. But there's some gentleman, I think in Australia, that has over 10,000 egg cups. But, I mean, they come in every shape and size and color and all sorts of fun things.
So
and
I would have...
I'm like, I got to make one.
I would have a pretty easy time cranking those out on the wheel. The challenge for me would be throwing off the hump and making a whole bunch at the same time. For those of you who don't know, throwing off the hump is when you take a big glob of clay. In my case, it would be like 15 or 20 pounds of clay. And you put that on the wheel, and then you mount it up, and you make small things at the top repeatedly without having to add more clay to the wheel. I'll bet if I could get my throwing off the hump technique honed in, I could make 50 of those in an hour. I'll bet I could. But it's a matter.
I won't. But anyway,
it's a matter of getting.
Let's hope it doesn't end up being as time consuming as a bowl. I mean, it's bad when a bowl takes longer for me. How does the bowl take longer for me than a mug does? But
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why.
Probably because I was really shaping it.
You don't make as many bowls.
No, that's true.
If you made as many bowls, you'd be faster at it.
I guess that's what it is. You're right.
Anyway, we had a wonderful time making, and we can't wait to make more things. Yes. And that's really kind of all we have to talk about, right?
Sure is.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please do hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And do tell us where you're watching from. Yeah. I know we didn't do a map update this time, but we will do another one in the future. And if we get a chance, we'll stick a pin in the map for your location. But for now, I think we're all finished.
We are.
All right, guys. Toodaloo, TTFN, ta-ta for now. Take care. See you later. Have a fantastic day, no matter where you're at. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.